By the way, Captain, Sergeant Yumi was looking for you. Sounds like he's got more work.
I'm so excited to see Tony after work. Projects for
Do you have a story for me or not? Welcome to SSNN, where the news never sleeps. If you're part of the David Barron fan club, try not to inflate his ego too much. He's liable to burst. Sounds like you know him personally. Let's take a look at you. You're not from around here. My guess is you really work for a living. I bet you have a story or two. I have a feeling about such things. Sounds like an old pickup line. But it really has, hasn't it? I'm interested only in primary sources. So things you've seen and or done that are newsworthy. No hearsay. So, what do you got for me? Really? To say you have my undivided attention is an understatement. A lot of people were there. The accounts we've got were chaotic. What was your role in that? Sounds like maybe you're being modest. Security isn't exactly trained for that scenario. But alright. The whole city is still on edge over the attack. We were fortunate, damn fortunate, that casualties were so low. What was it like in the thick of things? That makes what you did even more, well, amazing. It sounds like New Atlantis, heck the whole UC, owes you a great debt. Any closing comments? I already have a good story here. What? You're serious? Listen, Victus is dead. Like, documented historical event dead. I don't even want to get into it. That's a mouthful. A thankful you guys are around mouthful. Hey, Constellation? From all of us that live here, thanks. We use the word hero a lot in news, but you really are one. You have another story for me? I could take a breather too. You certainly get around. I'm surprised that branch has any customers left the number of times it's been held up. But I thought the Rangers had finally managed to get a handle on it. I heard there was a standoff. That true? I'd say I'm surprised, but this is my total lack of surprise face. What happened to the robbers? The Shaw gang? You did what? I mean, you're well spoken, but a hostage negotiator? I'll do some research and make sure that checks out. These things are often messy. Any customers or Galbank staff get hurt? That's really good news. Usually, well, it's a different kind of story. You were there. You were involved in resolving it. Any comment on the Freestar Rangers? Having another high-profile robbery in their own backyard is a bit of a black eye. Huh. That's really good to know. Stories like this always fire up public outrage and appetite. Thanks for the interview. And take this. You talk and get paid, I spread the news. It's a classic win-win. Looks like some Crimson Fleet brainiac figured out it's easier to hit stationary targets than dogfighting in the field. And you are an eyewitness with the courtesy to find us instead of being chased down. Refreshing. So what were the pirates doing there? It's not their usual MO.
Oh, yes. I'm not quite sure I have heard this entire story.
Bad blood between the fabled Constellation and the Crimson Fleet? Has all the markings of what we in the SSNN call a story. So what's your role in all this? Part of a tour group? I'd tip my hat, but I seem to have misplaced it. Your people pulled a hell of a thing off. So we've covered the basics. How about any harrowing tales of daring do? How'd a bunch of miners triumph? Whew. Are those things rated for bad guys? This is a good local story. Plucky miners band together and punch above their weight. If you ever get more stories like this, drop by. And take this to cover any incidentals, or other creative ways to pad out an expense report. You have that look in your eye. What a sordid mess. You've got some other sources we've been interviewing, but I'd love to get your take on the record. So there was a mercenary company, the First, and they were involved in taking farmlands from Freestar Collective families. Extortion, death threats, murder, all of it. Is that right? I genuinely don't know how people like that can live with themselves. So all of that? Terrible. But Ron Hope, the Ron Hope, was involved with it at the highest level. All of that suffering was a plot to save Hope Tech from going under using the side effects of a fertilizer he developed. Let me be blunt. The other sources say you killed Ron Hope. Is that correct? And all that money didn't help in the end. After all of that, the future of Hope Tech is an open question. Their stock has already taken a beating. Not sure if it's going to go into freefall. Any comment? For what it's worth, I'm rooting for them too. Thanks. If you listen to the news, you'll definitely hear this. And, maybe try not to ice any more CEOs. Just a thought. If you have a news story for me, I'm very happy to pay your fee. I'm working on an investigative piece about some of the businesses in the well right now. Trying to get a handle on how things are in that part of the city. I'm not sure the story will get off the ground, though. I asked the higher-ups if I could go down there for some interviews, but they said it's too dangerous. They'd probably be all for it if David asked. Would you really? I'd owe you big time if you did. You've been a huge help on my other stories. I'm sure you'd do great. Great. I had 3 interviewees in mind. Teresa Mason, the owner of Kay's house, Henrik Zoran at Apex Electronics, and Nurse O'Shea from the Medbay. You don't need to ask too many tough questions. I just want to read on how their businesses are doing, and how things are in the well. I really can't thank you enough.
ever find yourself with a hot lead, we will do our best to protect your anonymity.
No shortage of hungry mouths to feed around here. Keeps us on our toes. Nothing.
Absolutely. I'm sure my mom would be proud to have the place featured in an article. What's up?
Business is steady, as usual. We don't tolerate violence or disrespect, so a lot of folks like to spend time here.
The only thing that's worrying me is a new group of customers I've seen hanging around lately. They've been watching the UC surplus store pretty closely. I have a bad feeling they might be planning something. Case House has a reputation as a safe place. I don't want to be associated with that kind of thing. Honestly, I'd really appreciate that. I'd feel terrible if something happened and I hadn't done anything to try to stop it. Why don't you come by when you have some spare time? And we'll talk it out. Great. Let me know when the article comes out, will you? I'd like to read it.
It's nice to see a fresh face around here.
We're doing the best we can here. That's all we can ever do. A journalist? That's a surprise. Most people don't think anything that goes on in the well is worth writing about. I'd be happy to help if I can. Things are always rough at the Med Bay. I'm the closest thing to a doctor that the well has, and I can't treat everyone. The last few weeks have been especially bad. There's some kind of infection going around, and a lot of kids down here are catching it. It just breaks my heart to see. Oh, you're sweet to offer. There might be something you can do, if you're willing. Let's chat again when you have some time to spare, all right? All right, dear. You let me know if there's anything else I can do for you.
Can't say I'll have what you need. But a reporter. Fine, but I'm only talking basics. I don't like people snooping around my business. Door's still open, isn't it? That's my idea of success. Sorry if you were hoping for something more flowery. Great! Now why don't you help me out and buy something? I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
Heard the cabinet's assembled some kind of anti-terror document. Something to report?
It's been a pretty good year overall. We outperformed our projections for the third straight quarter.
Nice. You talk and get paid. I spread the news. Hey, that's great. Thanks so much. Did everything go all right? That's why stories like this one are so important. If people knew what was going on down there, maybe they'd want to help fix it. I can't thank you enough for helping me out. I'll send you a copy of the story if it gets published. There's nothing like seeing your name in print. You're really unusual. Searching the old memory banks, huh? Back to the grind. You have another story for me? Next time, then.
You see any heat leeches, you got permission to take care of them. Things are dangerous, apparently. Cool spacesuit.
If you need patching up, we'll see what we can do. Oh, you remembered. I'm touched, dear, really. Yes, there's absolutely something you can do to help. All the children seem to have the same stomach bug, but I'm having trouble diagnosing it. Pediatrics isn't my specialty. But one of my colleagues, Dr. Lebedev, is an expert. If I had his research notes, I'm sure I could diagnose the disease and find a treatment. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'd go myself, but I can't leave the medbay unattended.
I'm telling you, it's a cover-up. They don't want us to know.
Keep your nose clean. Last thing I want is to charge you for a DP.
The majority of citizens here in New Atlantis count on Reliant Medical. I believe our reputation speaks for itself. Welcome to Reliant. If you're in need of medical assistance or require supplies, I am sure we can accommodate you.
A medical problem Talia can't solve. I never thought I'd see the day. How can I help?
Sick children. Well, we can't have that. I'd be happy to help. Let's see. A stomach bug. I've treated plenty of those. I keep extensive notes. I'm sure I have something that can help. Ah, yes, here we go. This should do the trick. I've uploaded some of my notes on common stomach issues in pediatric patients to this slate. Please, pass it on to Talia. She can keep it. And give her my best, will you? I hope everything works out for those kids.